Gold Parlay King Sports. Give me 1 second. Let me get my mic together. Recapping NFL. I went 2-2 with my clients this weekend in the NFL. Now let's recap from these games. So we got the Chargers 26, Carolina 3. Hey, I bet, like I said last week, I said Bryce Young, he ain't that guy. The Carolina Panthers need to move on. Like I wouldn't even pick up his 4th year option or 3rd year option. I wouldn't even pick that shit up. I would cut him, straight up cut him, because he's not that guy. And you've seen it within 2 weeks. You only got 3 points in 2 weeks. It's pathetic performance, man. Like I said, if he was that guy, you would see something in him. I don't see nothing in Bryce Young. So you should just let him keep starting so you can get that number 1 pick and go after Quinn Ewers from Texas. Quinn Ewers is the best quarterback in college football right now, hands down. So that's who Carolina need to be focusing in on, Quinn Ewers. Now let's get to the next game. New Orleans and Dallas. This is the game. This is one of the games that I lost yesterday. I had the Dallas Cowboys, and Derek Carr balled out like he did in week 1. Balled out. Alvin Kamara balled out. He had like 4 rushing touchdowns. I mean, Dallas couldn't do shit. From coming off from last week, dominating Cleveland, to go back home to get dominated by New Orleans. It was a terrible, terrible performance by Dak Prescott. Multiple picks. You could just tell from the get-go that Dallas wasn't going to win the game. Our next game, Tampa Bay, Detroit. Tampa Bay 20, Detroit 16. Hey, this was a good game all the way through. This was one of my winners yesterday. I had Tampa Bay plus the 7.5. And it was a good game. It was going back and forth, tight all the way through. You got to put some respect on Baker Mayfield's name, man. He 2-0. He getting dubs. And then the next game, the Bengals 25, Kansas City 26. Man, let me just say this here. The reason the Bengals lost this game is because of Jamar Chase. The Bengals in the 4th quarter was on their way to slam the door on Patrick Mahomes. They was driving, and Jamar Chase got it was a good tackle. You know what I'm saying? It was a good tackle. It wasn't no traditional tackle, but it was a tackle. And Jamar Chase got up and started going off. I mean, he went off on the refs. He was all in the refs' face. You know what I'm saying? Like, he got all in his feelings about that one play. He was all in the ref's face. Like, the ref let him get it off the first time he said something. Then he kept saying some shit, wouldn't close his motherfucking mouth, all in his goddamn feelings, all in his feelings like a broad. And he cost us the game. They came with a 15-yard penalty because he wouldn't shut his motherfucking mouth. And then when he get on the sidelines, he's still going off and shit. Like, look, dude, the play over with. It's over with. You know what I'm saying? That shit over with. They didn't call it. Okay, move the fuck on to the next play. And Jamar Chase could not move on to the next play. And he kept pouting and crying on the sidelines and shit. And that's the reason why the Cincinnati Bengals are 0-2 right now, because of Jamar Chase all in his fucking feelings. Okay, they refs didn't call a play. Okay, move the fuck on to the next play, man. Move on to the next play. You trying to put Kansas City away right now. You want a nice drive. It's the fourth quarter, and you came with this fuck shit, man. And then not only when you went on the sidelines, you was cussing out. You was all agitated at the coach trying to calm you down, and you won't calm down. You talking about I'm okay, I'm okay. You ain't okay. You just cost us 15 yards. You just cost us 15-yard penalty because you all in your feelings and shit. Emotional. You don't know how to keep your feelings in check when you out there in the battlefield. It's pathetic, man. It's fucking pathetic. It's just like that damn fucking contract. Oh, I want one penny more than Justin Jefferson. Stupid ass shit. That's the reason why the Bengals ain't gonna win shit, man. Is because motherfuckers is too selfish. Everybody out for me, 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 me. And it ain't all. It's for the team. It's always about me, me, me. Jamar Chase, look at me, look at me, look at me. You fucking pathetic, man. Straight up pathetic. And he was the reason why the Cincinnati Bengals 0-2. Because he got off into his feelings in the fourth quarter. Pathetic, man. Straight up pathetic. Acting like a motherfucking 14-year-old. He act like the dude you know, pulled his face mask and all that shit. He didn't do none of that. It was just a good tackle. It was a tackle I ain't never seen before, but it was a good tackle. It was legit. It was legit. Pathetic, man. Jamar Chase, pathetic, man. The Bengals, pathetic. Joe Burrow looked it good. You know what I'm saying? He looked it good and shit, but it was just Jamar Chase. He was the reason why they lost that game. He got into his feelings on that one motherfucking play, man. And he wouldn't calm the fuck down and shit. Like, it's pathetic, man. Pathetic, man. But straight up pathetic. Next game. Vegas 26, Baltimore 23. Now, this game right here this loss is all on the Baltimore Ravens because you was up double digits in the fourth quarter and you let Las Vegas come back. See, this is what happens when you don't put teams away. When you don't put teams away early, you let them hang around, hang around, hang around, and then when the fourth quarter comes, the game tied, and they got the ball driving it down, trying to get the game-winning field goal. This is what happens when you don't put teams away. The Baltimore Ravens were supposed to put Las Vegas the fuck away early in the game to where they shouldn't even had a chance to come back. So, that loss is on Baltimore, man. Like I said, you was up double digits going into the fourth quarter. You lose the lead, you lose the game. That's on the whole team right there. Indy, Green Bay 16, Indy 10. Just growing pains for Anthony Richardson. Three three picks in the game. No, this was a terrible, terrible performance by Anthony Richardson. Three picks. I said when he was coming out the draft, I was like, this dude, yeah, he got all the dimensions of being great. But as far as like throwing the ball accurate down the field every time, he can't do that. And yesterday just showed me with the three turnovers. So good luck with that, Indy. Next game, Cleveland 18, Jacksonville 13. Now this was a good game, a defensive slugfest all game, and it's just crazy that Trevor Lawrence can't never come out a winner in these type of games. You know, now I'm starting to look at Trevor Lawrence like, man, yeah, I know they paid you Joe Burrow money, but you ain't playing like Joe Burrow. You ain't playing like Joe Burrow. That was a tough defense he had to go up against yesterday. But I still felt that they could have got that win yesterday. You know, the Jacksonville Jaguars wide receivers, sorry, man. Like they sorry. They drop passes. They don't catch the ball. Like, I mean, it was a couple of times where Trevor Lawrence threw the ball in their hands and they just dropped it. You know, Jacksonville Jaguars got some sorry receivers, man. Sorry, every last one of them. Sorry, man. Can't catch the football. Sorry. Next game, Minnesota 24, San Francisco 17. Now you starting to see when Brock Purdy ain't got all the weapons, he looked pedestrian, average, basic. He threw a couple of picks yesterday, but Minnesota lost Justin Jefferson. They lost him. He balled out yesterday too. He had uh the longest wide receiver touchdown, I think, in NFL history. I think he went like 98 yards to the house yesterday, but he tore his quad yesterday. So it's not looking good for Minnesota. But they got the dub and they 2-0. But you lost Jefferson, so that's a major loss. Next game, Seattle 23, New England 20. This was a good game all the way through, back and forth, back and forth. But I think it's time for New England to bench Brissett and start that rookie, man. It's time for them to start that rookie. You know, Brissett, yeah, he's a game manager and all that, but he ain't the future. He ain't the future. You know, you drafted Drake May with the third overall pick. He's the future, and I think it's time for you to start him in this next game because I'm starting to see losses coming from New England, multiple losses coming. If you keep starting Brissett out there, he's slow, he old. It's over with. It's time to move on. You know, New England needs to go ahead and make that change in the next game. Make the change. Make the change, man. Next game, New York Giants 19, Washington 21. This was another good game that was back and forth. They was kicking field goals all game, and Washington got the dub with the field goal with no time left. Next game, Jets 24, Tennessee 17. Now this was a good one too. Back and forth, back and forth. And the reason why Tennessee lost this game, it just because they lost, just like they lost week 1 game. Will Levis, these turnovers, man. These turnovers, man. Like you a turnover machine for the Tennessee Titans. That's the reason why they 0-2, because you keep turning the ball over. Keep turning the ball over and shit. Next game, Pittsburgh 13, Denver 6. Now you start to see Bo Nix get exposed now. You see, in preseason, Bo Nix was balling out. He had all these dumb yards, throwing for all these touchdowns. And you see that preseason is a total different beast than regular season. Now you starting to get exposed. You starting to get exposed like a motherfucker now. You know, you ain't got all the weapons like you did in Oregon, so you know you can't hold the fort down in the NFL like you did in Oregon. I don't know if Bo Nick's the guy. You know, it's still early. It's still early, but I'm just saying from what I'm seeing, you know, 0-2, 6 points yesterday, 2 field goals. You ain't get no touchdowns. You threw an interception. I mean, you look like a rookie, but he might be the answer long term. I don't know yet. The jury's still out on Bo Nix. It's still out. And the last game is Chicago 13, Houston 19. This was a back and forth defensive slugfest. You know, you had a couple of touchdowns in the game, but it wasn't no what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like a miniature shootout between C.J. Stroud and Caleb Williams, but it wasn't that. It was a defensive battle, back and forth, because nobody really pull away from each other. So you know that was a good game. But yeah, that's my recap in the NFL. It was some good games yesterday, but it was some knucklehead plays by some players that cost their team the game. like Jamar Chase. He cost their team the game. Well, we already know about Bryce Young. Bryce Young ain't the answer, but keep starting so you can get that number one pick. Because if you put Andy Dalton out there, Andy Dalton know how to score. And he'll fuck around and have you at 500 and shit. That's what you don't want. You don't want to be 500. You want to keep taking these losses so you can get that number one pick next year, so you can draft Quinn Ewers. That's the only quarterback Carolina should be looking at. Quinn Ewers. They shouldn't be looking at nothing else. Ain't nothing else in college football better than Quinn Ewers. He's the best quarterback in college football right now. Right now. Quinn Ewers. That should be the number one guy on your blackboard, Carolina. Nobody else. Nobody else. Quinn Ewers is the number one guy. He fuck around and gonna win the Heisman this year. That's how good he playing. So Quinn Ewers should be number one, hands down. Number one pick in next year's draft. The best quarterback in college football right now is in Texas. So Carolina have him penciled in, locked in, and that's going to be your future quarterback next year. That's going to be your quarterback next year, and he's starting. He coming straight in starting. He's a franchise quarterback. Bryce Young ain't a franchise quarterback. Bryce Young is some bullshit. That's what he is. Some straight up bullshit. You know, it just lets you know that Bryce Young was a system quarterback. You know, he's a system quarterback. He need a system. Like uh Nick Saban had him in the system, but he also had 5-star wide receivers he was throwing to, 5-star tight ends he was throwing to, 5-star running backs he was throwing to. So it just lets you know when you ain't got all these weapons around you, you can't do nothing. You can't do nothing, man. I mean, the Carolina Panthers. If you're a Carolina Panthers fan, you should burn your jersey, burn all your memorabilia until they draft Quinn Ewers. Like for real, on some real shit, man. Because Carolina Panthers are straight up garbage, straight up garbage can. But they need to keep starting Bryce so you can get that number one pick. Keep Bryce as the starter so you can get that number one pick. Fuck Andy Dalton. Like I said, Andy Dalton gonna come in and start getting wins and shit. You don't want no wins. You want losses. So you can get the number one pick next year. But yeah, that's my recap in the NFL yesterday. Make sure you tap into my two team parlays in the NFL and in college football. Congratulations if you tapped into my two team parlay in college football this week. It was a cash money winner. I went 1-1 in my NFL parlays yesterday. Like I said, the Tennessee Titans let us down. Was winning the game all the way through to the fourth quarter, and then they just folded up like some chairs. So we're gonna come back strong for week 4 in college football and week 3 in the NFL. I just dropped a two-team parlay in the NFL and another two-team parlay for college football. So stay locked in with me, man. And more winners on the way.